I'm coming in hot.
Kia ora and welcome to episode 2 of the recap show here with the Crispy Dudes at the Crispy Dudes HQ. It's been a big week in the CrossFit scene. Callum, how have you been, mate?
Good. I'm surprised that we're back here, to be honest. I thought it could be a one-hit wonder, but the positive responses have been great, and it's been good to hear the feedback as well. And I think we're our own harshest critics, really, aren't we?
Totally. We busted our guts and tried to film and edit last week's episode, learned a lot, and we're back for week 2, so really looking forward to chipping into it again. A lot has happened in the CrossFit scene in the last week, and I really enjoyed filming last week's show. I thought it was a bit of fun and good for us to just put something out there for the community, and thanks to those who have commented, who have flicked us a message. Much appreciated. We're enjoying it, so hopefully you're enjoying it too. Let's kick straight into it. 21.2. What was the workout?
Well, it was a repeat, and it was a repeat that I personally was really looking forward to. Reason being is that the first time that we saw the dumbbell was in 17.1, and it surprised a lot of athletes and gyms. I think there was a frantic number of gym owners that were scrambling around different wholesalers and suppliers trying to find 22.5 kilo dumbbells. And I remember that kind of being the fuss at the time. But what we're seeing this time around is a whole lot of athletes that are conditioned for the 22.5 kilo dumbbell, and they've been using it a buttload since then. So it's something that you can compare how far you've come, which not necessarily for me. But I mean, for people that did it in 2017 that were training really, really hard, and to see how much some of these scores have improved. I mean, even Dylan Metai, why I mentioned Noel Dillon, because you're still at the top of the leaderboard. Even Dylan Metai, who had one of the top times in the world in 2017, with far, far greater time that he was spending training, has gone and beaten his score simply because his body is so much more conditioned to the dumbbell.
Interesting.
If you didn't watch the last show, I kept going back to Dylan because I was so impressed, and Riz put me on my toes and said, "Do you think he'll still be at the top of the leaderboard come week 2?" And my wee fortune cookie told me that yes, he would be still up there because the workouts were going to be a bit more simple, and we saw another couplet come out, which I think is quite rare, a couplet back to back with another couplet in the open.
True.
So.
That's what I know. I just looked like I'd been smacked in the face there, and I realized why, because I'm like, there was a point that I wanted to bring up, but I couldn't remember what it was, and it was about repeats. So we were chatting about repeats initially, and I've been in two minds. I hate a repeat purely because I'm like, I want something fresh, I want something new, I want to see athletes have to figure it out, whereas like a lot of them said, oh cool, I know what strategy I'm already going to have going into it. I don't like that. I want them to be like tested in it to be fresh, but at the same time, going back to your point, a repeat is good because if you did it in 2017, if you do any workout in the past and you see improvement, it's just like an awesome feeling. And so for many athletes over all the divisions, it was just a chance to see, hey, where am I at? And for some people, it's like, hey, I had a crap sleep. I've got 4 kids now, and I smashed my time from 3 years ago. You know, there's some awesome stories.
Well, we saw it in the open announcement with Justin Medeiros. He was sending it from the get-go, and it was funny because the commentators, their opinion transitioned throughout the broadcast, and they were kind of biting their own words. They started off saying...
Love that, by the way.
He started off ridiculously hot, and little did we all know that he was going to hold that ridiculous pace. And I got so excited. Like when he jumped down for that last set of burpees, I thought he's going to go sub 10, which was just unheard of. And now we look through the leaderboard just within Australasia, and we've got people like Ellie Turner with a 903. Like insane.
Mind-blowing.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, while watching the live announcement, I thought he's sending it here, and he made Samuel Quant just look like... I felt like when I was watching Quant do it, I was like, that looks like the pace I would do it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was only because Medeiros was absolutely flying. It was flipping cool to watch. It was pretty cool to watch. Yeah. Should we head over to CrossFit Selwyn?
Yep.
We cruised there on a Saturday morning and had a quick chat with some of the crew about the workout, their initial thoughts as they hit it. Let's cut to the footage.
Right, we've had an 11:30 and under prediction for Lukey. What are you thinking for yourself?
I'm thinking fine on the rector and get more on the left. Probably
Sub 11.
Sub 11?
Sub 11.
And is that something you'd be happy with, or is that kind of a goal?
I'll be moderate. I'll be content. I won't redo. I don't want to get roasted on the show again. So
There is absolutely no point redoing the workout.
I'll stick to the one attempt.
Xanthi,
Yeah, hello.
I saw your name on that board with that 190 kilo deadlift.
Oh, yeah, baby, lightweight, baby, baby
So
weights.
this 15 kilo dumbbell.
Oh, this is 22. This one's 15.
Oh, you're going to do it with the 22 kilo dumbbell?
Oh, obviously, RX plus.
Zantac, not human.
Obviously, I RX plus the last workout as well. That's why I'm in the 300th on the leaderboard. So,
What's your time prediction for this?
I think I just want faster than last time we did it, maybe like a month ago, and I got 12. I think I got 12, 15. So anything under that, maybe under 11:30 would be good for me.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll see.
One all, Lukey.
Yeah, I knew he'd have that one. I just wanted to get under 11:30. I'd be happy with that. Just one and done, get through to the quarters then.
So what did you end up getting then?
11:26.
Oh, so just under the estimation.
Yeah, so about 20 seconds better than what I did in like a couple months ago. So.
I saw you broke the set of 50. Was that part of the plan?
Nah, my glutes were killing me. So I just had a wee break and then back to it real quick. But no, it was good. Happy with that.
Let's go. 10:47. 10:47 was good.
So that's one and done?
Yeah, I don't like, I'm not the biggest fan of repeating because it screws up the training. Because I normally, on a Monday, I'll coach to 6 a.m. and then I don't want to have to wait till the end of the day to redo.
How good. People are taking on my redo attitude and are doing one and dones. Ben made an obvious point of only doing it once, and I think me calling out the CrossFit world is starting to pay dividends. So you'll thank me later in the quarterfinals when you've stuck to your training cycle, people.
Yeah, I love Callum. I love that you think you're the big guru, and everyone's like, "Oh man, I'm tuning into that recap show." I'm just like, "Oh, I've got to listen to Cal." But yeah, after catching up with the crew there, you see how spicy and gross that workout is. I'd already completed it by then, so I knew. And it's a one and done purely because a 20-minute workout in general with a time cap of 20 minutes, you go into a pretty dark place.
Yeah.
I talked to a few people when they said, geez, week one, I thought it was quite rough. And then I completed like week two and I was like, whoa, next level. Callum, how did the workout go for you?
Well, it was a bit of a funny one because going back to the redo. Oh, don't you look at me like that. Going back to the redo, I went and did a large volume of double unders on the Tuesday, and I think I was about 400 double unders into this workout, and I pinged my calf.
Know your limits, people. Know your limits.
But what that kind of did was it gave me an excuse to pull out of 21.2. But thanks to Riz, he stayed on my back, stayed on my case, and I did it in the garage with a 25 kilo dumbbell. And God Almighty, it kills you. It absolutely kills you. You get this, like I said earlier, you get this false sense of confidence in that set of 30. You go unbroken. You come back to that 40, and you really start to think about breaking it up. And then that set of 50, I don't even want to know how many sets I did. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of footage over the top of this, but it was hell. What about you, mate? Oh, actually, breaking news: Riz did his first Open RX workout. So
Thank you.
the baby's here.
Yeah, mate.
How was it?
I'll give you a quick rundown.
Yeah.
So for those who are interested, or probably not, I
am.
Rocked up to the gym, was nervous but excited, scaled, reading all the like movement standards, and I was excited about stepping up over the box. How good. I was also excited about a 15 kg dumbbell. I thought, man, this is going to feel so nice. And then I had a chat to Clint. Big shout out to Clint Cole. He was like, what? Well, I don't want to imitate him.
No, do a French accent.
No.
Do it for the recap show.
Nah,
come on. Do your best Clint impersonation.
I would, if I'd just gone with it, I would have done it. But now I'm real mindful of it. He pretty much just said, why the fuck are you doing scaled? Like, you should just do RX. And I was like, okay. So I grabbed the 22.5, whatever the dumbbell was, and I was like, I'll do a few. And I was like, this doesn't feel too bad. And then I did a few box jumps. I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
The burpees feel great.
So it's
And
false
then,
sense of confidence, eh?
And then midway through, like, my warm-up, I was like, what have I done? And then big shout out to Madeline Shelling. She was my judge, and she's like, definitely just do RX, like just might as well. And Clint he came up to me and said, look, you just test yourself and see where you're at. And
I thought he was going to say, I've dug your grave.
Pretty much, but I was umming and ahhing. I was freaking out. I had like a 14k run a few days later, so I was like, oh man, I just don't want to get injured. I don't want to like, and I was just talking myself out of it, but just ended up doing it. I'm waffling here, but ended up doing it. Went into the pain cave and had a blast. It was rough as guts, and finished it with maybe 3 seconds to go under the time cap. You beauty, it was good.
That's an achievement in itself, getting under the time cap.
And sure, you look at the leaderboard and you're like, oh, people are doing it in 9 minutes. Like, does that get me down? Not really. I don't know why, but no, because it's like, well, they're just they're training a shit ton more than me, but I don't know. So I just still enjoyed myself, so it was fun. Cool. Moving right along.
Yeah, so let's cut across to the Australasian leaderboard and just have a bit of a breakdown. And the name that sticks out to me is Mr. Zach Thomas. I personally don't know anything about this fella. I know that he trains out of Wollongong. And Wollongong have got a couple of really young athletes coming out there, and one of those is Luke de Jong, so a ex-Team Games athlete, and he put on a couple of really, really impressive performances, particularly at the Down Under CrossFit Champs, where he beat out an absolutely stacked field of athletes. But it's not Luke that's appearing, it's Zach Thomas that trains with Luke, and 2 years his younger, so 19 years old, and currently 4th in the world, which is absolutely incredible.
Unreal. Second, Jay Crouch in third. Thoughts there, Callum?
See, this is the one that kind of pushes my buttons a little bit, because Jay Crouch, I mean, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's one of these dudes that have really missed out on the exposure of CrossFit HQ's media not being around for the last couple of years. He's put on some seriously impressive performances. I mean, we saw him at Down Under. I think he came 3rd or 4th in an absolutely stacked field of athletes. And then we saw him last year at Oz Champs. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't even see him coming onto the podium. Like, they had Brandon Swam, Phil Hesketh, James Newbury. Like, it was just absolutely
names
stacked.
upon names.
Yeah, literally names
unreal.
upon name. It was like so divine to watch it. And he just snuck
away.
Yep, snuck away the whole way through the weekend. Top fives, a couple of wins. And he came away with what I'd say was the most competitive competition in Australian history in a male field.
He played it bloody well. It was great to watch.
Yeah.
But what was even better was watching him do some karaoke the night after the comp.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He celebrated, and we were at this karaoke bar, and then I'm like, wait a minute. And he was just blasting it out. But big shout out to Jay. Love your work. On and off the karaoke floor. Then your man Dylan's in 4th, and rounding up the top 5 for the lads, we have Khan Porter. To be expected to see Khan up there. When you scroll down further down the list, who are the names? Are there anything else that pops out to you? That
so the one that sticks out is Ellie Turner. What a performance! 9:03, 4th in the world. I mean, I kind of, to be fair, I kind of saw this coming. Not a 9:03. I saw a sub 9:30 at best, because at Oz Champs there was a very, very similar couplet.
Yes.
You take away the dumbbell snatch and replace it with an assault bike, which arguably is harder.
Yep.
And she killed the field of athletes.
Yeah, totally. Obviously Tia at the top there, but Ellie, impressive. Yeah, like you've already mentioned, when we spotted her winning that workout, actually, and we were filming at the time, we thought, hold on, who is this woman? And we watched her for the rest of the comp, and then now we just...
Because I think that was day 2 of, what was it, like a 15-day competition, the Oz Champs? And that was 4 or 5 days, and she kind of came out of nowhere and won it. And we started asking questions. We were working for the Morning Chalk Up at the time, and started asking questions, how old are you and things, and I think she was 21 or 22, and we were like, holy moly. For a workout that you need so much mental fortitude to kill, she was phenomenal. And I know that she comes from I think an F45 background. Yeah, I want to say F45. And then also a little bit of triathlons, a little bit longer distance stuff. So I think the strength component is going to come over the next couple of years, and she's going to be a real force to reckon with. She's working with in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the world, Michelle Latondra, out of Decacomp.
Yes.
And Michelle's recently lost Laura Horvath, which is bad for Decacomp, but great for Ellie Turner, meaning that she's going to get far more one-on-one with Michelle. So I think Ellie's now kind of the top the top female athlete at Deca, alongside Pat Vellner as the male. So she's in great company, and she's got a great coach. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how she comes out in the next couple of years as that strength develops and aligns with her fantastic cardio, as you can see from her scores in the Open.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, some impressive scores just scrolling through the ladies leaderboard. But before we move along, quick F45 story.
Yeah.
I was running the running race on Sunday, and we're about 50 minutes into this running race, and I see a few people with F45 t-shirts just walking, and I was like, I had a great chuckle to myself. I was like,
did it hit the 45-minute time cap?
Yeah, I was like, you can only last the 45. And I just got so much joy out of that. But the moment the workout was released, I flicked a quick message out to a few athletes on Instagram. If you're not following us, check us out, Crispy Dudes. And I said, hey, look, initial thoughts of the workout. Give me one word, give me a sentence, whatever you think. 21.2. Here are some of those clips.
I'm coming in hot.
You look good.
Lungs.
I'm really excited.
I'm so hyped for 21.2.
Burpees! Oh, I'm not a fan of burpees, so 21.2 is going to be a bit of a struggle for me. I do like dumbbell snatches, however. I'm going to look to do those unbroken. Burpees is just going to be about my pacing. My pacing will be a step up, 2-footed jump, step down, carry that same fashion all the way through.
Sounds like we're going to have blown out shoulders again, but that's all good.
21.2 retest of 17.1. Absolutely buzzing to hit this workout.
21.2. Love it. You've got to want to hurt from the start.
Gonna hurt, gonna get him a pancake. Take your shoes off is how it was. Fuck.
Just quick chat here with Sammy. How was that one, mate?
So heading back to the leaderboard and looking at the team side of things, you go back to the world leaderboard, and there was a very, very, very impressive performance from 6'4 Fitness. They're currently second in the world for 21.2. So they're starting to come out and they're starting to move back up that leaderboard. They didn't have the greatest showing in week 1, but I know that is because they all won and done it, apart from Mads that we called you around that first episode. So
how does that work? How does the team leaderboard work?
So what they do is they allocate a roster. So I don't think there's a limit on the roster, and then your top 2 male and female times are allocated towards that point total for the week.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it can vary a little bit. And I mean, you look at the Mayhem leaderboard and it's got Hayley Adams contributing to the score for one of them.
Yep.
But it doesn't really mean that much because they've got Andrea Nisler and Taylor Williamson there as well. So they're both phenomenal athletes. Even if Hayley's score popped out, they'd still be up the top by quite some margin.
Yeah. Nice. Big shout out to +64, the Kiwis getting it done in week 2. Moving right along, Callum.
So we caught up with Brandon Swan during the week and got a little bit of an insight into what his lead up to the Torian Pro looks like. We'll cut to that now.
Very, very, very stoked to have the qualifying event 20 minutes from my house. It's awesome.
And I know old Roycey boy seems to have a bit of a hand in the programming. It looks like there might be a 1RM deadlift from what he's been posting on the socials. Do you think he's...
I keep an eye on Royce and what he's doing. So I expect there to be 1RM deadlifts and lots of handstand
walk obstacle. Yeah.
But you know what? Like whatever. I mean, I don't mind a heavy deadlift and I don't mind a handstand walk. So that's if they pop up, so be it. I'll take it on. Take it in my stride.
Who are your top 3 male and female picks for the Torian Pro? Who's going to get the tickets for July in Madison?
Me, and I don't care who else, to be honest. No, like mate. I think it's the same. That is very much where my headspace is at. Like I'm keen to defend my title. I'd love to get back to the games again.
Would this be a 3-peat?
This would be a 3-peat, yeah. So I'm going.
It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does have a nice ring to it, so that would be nice. I'm gonna give it everything I've got and hope that that's the case. But it's the same people I think that you see at all these competitions. You can't discount. Obviously, Baden's been the gun Aussie for the last couple of years. You've got Jay Crouch coming up, and he put in a great week 1 performance in the Open, and obviously last year at the ACC he was phenomenal. So you got him, you got Roysty, you got Khan, you got Newbury.
Holy moly!
Forgive me if I've forgotten any of the big names, but even like Matty McLeod popped back up on the leaderboard. We haven't really heard much from him for a while, but he's there. So there's going to be I've definitely got my work cut out for me. Last year was harder. Last year was harder to win than the year before. This year's going to be, twice as hard because we've got everybody coming. But at the same time, if I was ever going to pick a competition that I was excited for as a qualifier, it's the Torian Pro. So it's my backyard, and it's my favourite competition, and I'm going to bring everything I've got.
Beautiful. We interviewed there with Swanee. Awesome to see his mindset. Just hearing him talk about pretty much ruling out all of the competition and just being really focused and hungry on the dub was pretty exciting to see.
He's so humble. Like, a lot of these people, and I've met a couple, I'm not going to name any names, but I've trained with people in Dubai that I thought were really, really nice. I've trained with people in Hungary, which you'll be able to connect the dots on that one, which I thought were really, really nice. And they're not. They're these Instagram fake people. But Swanee is the polar opposite. He is so nice, so humble, and has so much time for people in general. And this humble trait is something that's becoming more and more evident in top level athletes. So you look at Matt Fraser, and he was never too good to learn anything more. He was always going and taking on advice. He went to Chris Henshaw for more advice on aerobic capacity work, and then what people didn't realize that he was going to world-class powerlifters and getting deadlift cycles and literally humbling himself and just doing these cycles based on someone else. And he's a 3-4 times CrossFit Games athlete. Yeah, it's
doing
incredible.
track workouts with like teenagers on the track and everything.
That's the classic story. Going and joining a high school athletics team and getting smoked by 14, 15-year-olds, but he's happy to do it because he's going to improve.
Yeah, totally. But like speaking of Swanee, well, he's an Aussie, and we need to talk over here in Kiwi land, New Zealand. We need to talk about this Trans-Tasman bubble with all COVID and what's been going on in the world. There's been talks a few times now.
Sounding a little bit more positive.
Yeah, of opening up this bubble between New Zealand and Australia. Do you think it'll happen? And what does that mean or not mean for the Torian Pro? Callum, thoughts?
Well, every time I see a headline on the news or anything like that, I get my hopes up. There's a whole lot of these Kiwi athletes that are just gagging for those borders to be opened back up because, yes, they can get over there and they don't have to do a quarantine, but they've got to come back and quarantine, which is just out of the reach for a lot of these people. And talking to the 6'4 team, what their plans are is essentially if the ship sails smoothly, is they head over there, get their invite to the games, and they're not going to be able to come back. They're going to shoot straight over to the US, and they're going to have 8 weeks over there before the CrossFit Games starts. I mean, it sounds nice, but 8 weeks without a salary and 8 weeks of expenses, it adds up pretty quickly.
Totally. Yeah, I was hopeful early on in the piece with the bubble, and even obviously we want to get over there just to interact with all the Aussie athletes as well, and we've been in talks with a few Aussie brands, and we just love to work with a bunch of people, and there's a lot going on over in Oz, but is it going to happen? I don't know why, but I'm doubtful.
What if you were to put a TAB odds on it, a bet on it, what would you say?
It would be in the $5 to $10 mark, mate. We would not be looking good. I'm not thinking $10 for this one. If it was a horse, but I don't know. I feel like it's just not going to happen.
It's too good to be true, almost. Isn't it?
Yeah. But I want it to happen. Like, it'll be so good.
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed anyway.
Yeah. So on the notes here, Callum, I see Noah Olsen's name. What's that about?
Yeah, so Noah Olsen's been training with a rather well-known MMA fighter, and I know that you're not that well versed in the MMA world, but he's been training with.
That's about it.
Yeah, he's been training with a guy called Jorge Masvidal, and if you haven't seen it, he's got the quickest knockout in UFC history, and his
Cut
gym.
To that clip.
Yeah,
how long is it?
4 seconds. Literally, knocks him out in 4 seconds. So it won't be a short cutaway.
Yep.
But. Yeah, Noah Olsen and Jorge connected obviously outside the gym in the car park, and then Noah Olsen had a day of training where I think he swam for 2 hours and had a really long piece in his gym, and then did some weightlifting, and then on the way home he was walking back from the gym to his apartment complex, and he saw Jorge Masvidal doing sprints up this big bridge, and he turned his head and he thought, you know what, I'm going to go join him for these sprints. And that was kind of the start of a conversation and the start of a wee bond. And the rumor has it is that Jorge wants to do a bit of CrossFit when he's finished MMA. So he's actually loving training with Noah Olsen. And
love it.
Have you watched the day in the life done by Vicky of Ricky Garrett?
A little bit. I've clicked here and there, but just because I was kind of interested. But the moment I saw that he wasn't going to ask him the hard questions, I was like, oh yeah, like whatever. But yeah, why?
I don't know. Like, what's your stance on Ricky coming back potentially at the end of? Well, I guess he's coming back at the end of the season, so he could be at Dubai Champs, and I think he can qualify for Wadapalooza with his band coming up.
I guess I'm in a unique perspective because I'm a spectator, so I'm like, cool. I just want to see performance. I want to see a bit of controversy. I like all of that because it's like it's quite entertaining. If I was an athlete and this is my bread and butter, it would be a different story. But like, I love the concept of him coming back. I love him proving himself. I love the whole story around that. Like I've already mentioned.
If CrossFit do it correctly, it could be a really good villain story. Like, if Ricky wants to play that, which is it's a hard one because no one wants to play the villain, do they?
Yeah, but do you ever brush off that like cloak? Or can you get rid of that? I don't know.
There's a stigma. I mean, going back to MMA, which you don't really know of much. There's a guy called John Jones, and he's been stung multiple times, and he's had his name, I'd say, tarnished drastically. And I can't say that Ricky's gonna be clean. We're hoping so, but I just can't see CrossFitters giving him that second chance that people in other sports do. I think even with that 4-year ban, which is a long time. It is a really long time because he was 23, 24 years old when it came into place. I just think he's going to be frowned upon, and it's going to be so interesting. I hope they have it behind the scenes the year that he comes back, and we can kind of see the interaction with him and the other athletes, because it's going to be intriguing to see who allows him in with open arms and who puts up a real fuss. Yeah,
I feel like it's going to be a limited few that do actually open, if any. I feel like it could be pretty cold.
Imagine if you were Pat Vellner. Because Pat Vellner literally missed out on the opportunity to stand on the podium. And it's great that he got his bronze medal mailed to him. Later, but holy moly. Yeah. Like, that's going to be so interesting. And I don't even think Ricky's reached out to Pat to apologise.
Interesting. It's an interesting one, but going back to me personally, I'm a huge fan of the concept of him coming back, just purely because what that'll bring for the sport, and it's a great opening. It's a great discussion to have, and all of that. So,
and he's like, people forget so quickly, and they push it towards the drugs, the SARMs, but he is one hell of a competitor, and you kind of see it at the end of this vlog that Vakey does, and he's doing this ridiculous complex 140 kilos snatch balance overhead squats, and prior to that set he did a 130 which looked like he was at his capacity, but the fact that Vakey had the camera on him, he put it on another level, and that's the games for you. It's the people that stand up in front of the crowd, that stand up and put another gear in place and just dominate that prevail. Like, you see people like Noah Olsen that have really struggled with that in the past and let it come into fruition in a bad way. So I'm personally super excited to see Ricky come back, because I want to see that. I want to see him sending it. I want to see him going against the crowd's atmosphere, because I feel like it's going to be a negative atmosphere, but I think Ricky will take it in his stride and use it as fuel, personally.
Yeah, when you mention Noah Olsen, that kind of mentality, Noah Olsen reminds me of the Warriors. It's like quite hard to get behind, because you're watching and you're excited by it, but you're always nervous at the back of your mind they're going to knock it on. Like, you're always nervous that he's going to come out too hot in a workout in the final day. Like, it's weird. But
that happened this year at the Games. I honestly think that he didn't perform because he didn't have all his cheerleaders there. I think that was a huge factor. And he actually mentioned it in the podcast too. He said that he hated the environment. So they were going out and working out without music in some instances, which is that's a really big thing for them, because they're in gyms where the music's blasting, or they're in a competition where the crowd's pumping, there's vibes going, there's lights flashing, and he was dropped off in a paddock with no music, limited crowd, literally just the coaches.
I kind of love that though. I love music.
It too.
It's good. It's like, welcome to your own head. You can't listen to this stuff anymore. You've got to hear your heavy breathing, and you've got to
It's kind of like going back to 2007 when they were back at the ranch and there was just nothing. It was just a whole lot of people working out in a sand pit and just getting down and dirty. And that's what made me personally fall in love with CrossFit, was just seeing all these shredded dudes doing cool stuff, running up hills of sandbags, doing awkward implements.
And that's what. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. That's what I love about CrossFit is that it's like cool. You can lift this heavy barbell. Then it's like go run up this hill, and it's for those athletes to see what they're made of and be ready for everything. Which
they're
is
taking
cool.
back away the pink Metcons, the you know what I mean though, like the bright coloured sweatbands, and they're just making it raw again. So I kind of enjoy going back to the ranch.
But also I love crowds. I love the flipping packed tennis stadium, all that jazz.
It's a bit of a balancing act, isn't it?
Moving along to week 3, mate. 21.3 thoughts.
It's got to be heavy. There's got to be some wakeboarding to play because the leaderboard just looks a little bit funny at the moment. There's a few names that shouldn't be up there, and I apologise to you that are up there, but we're going to have to see something heavy, or we're going to have to see something that gets incrementally heavy. So I think like a chest bar snatch, that chest bar snatch workout where the weights increase as you get further into the rounds with time caps in each portion of the workout. What are you thinking, mate?
Yeah, my wonderful wife, Coos, big shout out to you, CrossFit boss. She mentioned that something about the equipment list and what hadn't been ticked off was pretty much barbells and a pull-up bar. So she's like, it's going to be some combination of those two. That's her prediction, and that makes sense.
If you were going to throw a wild prediction in there, what would it be?
Well, I want it to be oh my gosh. Wild prediction. I'm just trying to lean towards what I'd want. I'd want a heavy. I just want something heavy. I want whether it be heavy like power cleans, and
I'd love to see a heavy cluster, a new movement that hasn't been. I know it's disgusting, but I'd love to see like a complex. So like one rep is one toe to bar, one chest to bar, one muscle up. Like let's see something a little bit different in the works, and I want to see a complex with the barbell too, because I don't think we've seen a complex in the open.
True. I did at a competition last year. I saw 1 rep max cluster go down, and that was interesting. That was interesting. Redemption comp, sponsored by Cluster. Makes sense to have a nice cluster event. It was epic. It was really cool to watch.
I didn't even think about that.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's cool. But yeah, prediction is pull-ups and something with a barbell, ideally heavy, which would be good.
Well, it's got to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
Don't think so.
I think that's us. Let's look at the camera that we never look at in the middle. Thanks for tuning in for episode 2. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got some thoughts, some questions, fire them in the comment section below if you're tuning in on YouTube, which will be the only place that you'll be tuning in.
Yeah, where else will they be tuning in?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Take care.
See you next week.
See ya.